Hey, Stella here. This is my second video and like the fourth time I have attempted to record this specific one simply because of how daunting it is. Now, I don't write scripts. I kinda suck at writing scripts because it always just turns out being very robotic. With that being said, I do have a notepad here on this side that gives me a rough estimate of what I should be discussing. Now, I'm a college dropout. I went for like a year and a half, 2 years at most. I had undiagnosed depression in it. Due to it, it was just not good for anyone involved. And a little bit of more history on that. In 2016, roughly, I found My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and honestly, changed my life. It is relevant to this video because it single-handedly began my personal journey to break free from the propaganda that America pushes on us, specifically America, because that's where I live in. Everywhere has its own form of propaganda. And that's what this video is about, propaganda, and how it affects us, how it's subtle, how it can be internalized, whether you know it's there or not. And it's painful. But as a very not smart man once said, facts don't care about your feelings. Now, what is propaganda? The dictionary definition from Merriam-Webster is ideas, facts, or allegations spread deliberately to further one's cause or to damage an opposing cause. It can also be against an institution or a group of people or a single person. Now, we see this every single day. It's subtle, it can be in your face. This has happened throughout history. America specifically, it happens a lot in schooling, in the news, things like attacking undocumented immigrants, in making them seem like terrible people, like they're monsters, they're demons. This is all propaganda that's more in your face once you know what you're looking for. But if you don't know, well, propaganda will get you. Propaganda will affect you. And even if you do know what to look for, it can still affect you due to things like the fog of war, where you don't know who to believe if so much shit is thrown out there. It's so easy to trick you if you're just not sure what you're looking through. You look through a glass, it's all fogged on the glass. You don't know what you're looking at on the other side. You don't know if you should be believing it or if you should be a bit more skeptical, and you never will because sometimes that information's impossible for you to get. But not all hope is lost. Things like social media, like Discord, these can help you look out of your bubble, look out of your worldview that might have been thrown on you from a religion or your family or your schooling. You might hear this stuff from your family about specific things like how homeless people do it because it's a choice, because that's what the media presents it as. But if you are on something like social media, you can hear from other stories, you can hear other people's stories, their lives, you can see into a window outside of your world, outside of where you're currently looking at. However, I've mentioned it many times already, school. It starts when you're young with an American mythos, an American mythology created to propagandize. American mythos, American mythology. This is from America's founding. Now, this video is mostly focused on America. It's what I know. Other nations probably have similar ideas behind it. Mythology has existed for way before recorded history because humans like to make ourselves look better than we are. We worship gods, we worship deities, we worship ancient pharaohs like they were gods because we want to feel special. And in America specifically, we created this mythology, this idea that we are the single greatest nation to ever bless this world. We started it with our founding fathers and various other people throughout our history, with like Abraham Lincoln tells no lie, the apple tree with George Washington. But there's also more subtle stuff. There's this one man that helped train our troops to fight against the redcoats. I'm going to butcher his name, but Baron Friedrich von Steuben. I probably butchered that. That's just my best attempt. But he couldn't get a job where he was at, and so he ended up being brought to train American troops. And I don't remember hearing about him when I went through school. I lived down here in Texas, could have been a Texas thing. But this man almost single handedly whipped our troops into shape. He was openly gay, did a lot of creepy stuff, had pantsless parties where you had to be pantsless to join them. But by God, he should be regarded as a historical figure and one of the reasons we're even able to be here as a nation. But he's essentially been erased. And he's not the only one. Historians are constantly uncovering the true history of stuff that's been erased. They say history is written by the victor. Well, that's pretty accurate because the victor can determine how the history is written. Yeah, they can be mostly accurate, but mostly is not 100% because history is messy. And if you truly are someone that loves your nation, you should be able to love it, both the bad and the good. You should be able to get through the uncomfortable and work to fix the uncomfortable. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about reparations because it's based on the American mythos. This could be considered a hot take. Hear me out first. A lot of people discuss reparations and they're like, oh, we should give money to the people affected, the persons that have been affected by the shitty history. We should give them all money and everything will be better. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the people that say that. I know it's probably not what most people think when they hear reparations. I'm just going to give it bluntly. We should be better than our past. Our past should be a teaching method. Our past should be what teaches us. We have history class in school. It shouldn't just be to teach us what happened. It should be to teach us how to do better. And yet the past few years, it's gotten so much worse. The past year alone has gotten so much worse. This modern era we're entering is way worse than we were just a decade ago. This modern era, it's gotten worse. I wasn't very quote unquote awake back in 2016. I started to, due to My Little Pony, as I mentioned. 2020, I just furthered that. 2025, I learned I was trans. I know my voice doesn't sound it. I haven't undergone any sort of voice training. I hope to eventually, but I live in Texas, as I said. What am I supposed to do? But that's besides the point. The rise of AI, specifically generative AI, I take a nuanced stance. I can see how it could be used as a tool. I personally use, like, not AI chatbot, but like an AI storyteller where I'm telling a story alongside an AI. Think AI Dungeons. It's one of the most well known ones because I have a very active imagination. And so I'll do that at night before bed where I just write over half the thing myself to keep my mind going constantly because I have an overactive imagination. I have like 20 stories up there, but I would not be upset if it just all went away overnight because its cons vastly outweigh its pros. And even its pros are super specific cases like mine because it's being used like by this administration to aid in their constant stigmatization of individuals, of persons, of peoples. Throughout human history, we've done this. We've had slaves of either culture or slaves of race. Like ancient societies would enslave nations that they captured, enslaved nations that they won at a war. And before I get to the elephant, while they did still have slaves, Rome, as far as I'm aware, editor Stella will hopefully fact check me on this. Roman slaves were able to get out of being enslaved. They were still slaves, and feel like I've heard somewhere that they might have been better treated than what we treated our own slaves. But it's kind of an easy thing to do to treat a human being of any kind better than what we treated our slaves. Even prisoners are probably treated better in most places. Time for the elephant. We were shitty. We were horrible to everyone that was not a white man back then. Specifically to slaves, but even still to the woman back then, it was just horrible. And it hasn't gotten much better. It's just more subtle. The stigmatization of individuals has changed over time. First, it was to black people back with, well, not first, but I'm not going through every single individual. I'm just going to hit the main points because I don't have all the facts in front of me. I'm going to fact check myself afterwards. Editor Stella will hopefully have a diagram of some sort to put up here. The first one I'm going to talk about, black people were heavily stigmatized individuals after gaining quote unquote freedom because they found ways to try to bypass freedom as best as they could. And once this stopped being the cool, hip new thing, they moved on. Black people are still hated on today by various groups. It's pretty shitty, of course. That goes without saying. Don't be an ass. But they moved on to queer culture at some point. And when gay people started to get more accepted, well, they moved on from gay people to trans people as they are nowadays, pushing for trans people, when just 10 years ago, trans people were at least accepted better than what they are today. And of course, that's heavily cliff noted variant, but this is why we have to keep fighting. This is why we have to keep pushing. Because the moment we quit fighting is the moment we lose everything we have gained before. Because women and black people and trans people and gay people and Irish people at one point, just anyone that wasn't a straight white man, and they're still trying to remove rights. They're still trying to push these people back down, these innocent people back down. And the moment we stop fighting is the moment it turns into a slope back in time. And I know it sounds depressing, but we have to have hope. We have to find some way to keep hope. Hope. It's something I want this channel to stand for is hope. Community. The best way to keep hope is not to look at the future, it's to look at the now. It's to have people near you you can trust, people around you you can rely on. Find a community, find a friend group, have at least one person that you know will have your back. I don't have many friends, but I have community. I'm in the Warframe community, even if I don't talk much, I know that they would have my back. My Little Pony as well, even though there's a horrible neo-Nazi problem in that community. Same thing with the furry community. But by and large, the people in these communities are phenomenal. And if you have the ability, vote. Get out and vote. The midterms coming up, voting, we have a great chance of winning. Texas could turn blue this year. I'm excited for that. That's keeping me hopeful. But it's the present that really keeps me going day to day. The people I surround myself with. This channel, I hope, can take off. Not just because I want to do this for a living and because my job right now sucks, but because I want this to be a safe place, a community much like Warframe, much like Guild Wars, much like My Little Pony. Just a community of people that can be. Be what? Doesn't matter, they could just be, as long as they're not hurting anyone else. There's a series I want to start. A series that is just sharing your story. Finding someone for me to interview, but less interview and more so just let them tell their story. Not just LGBT plus, but maybe someone that's went through poverty, someone that suffered through racism, just someone that should tell their story so that other people know they're not alone. That's what I want to do. That's the kind of channel I want this to be. Yes, there's going to be some stupid, silly shit. There's going to be some gaming. I'll have some friends on to play some games. I'll just screw around. But by and large, I want it to be a safe place. Yes, there's going to be that fun stuff, but that fun stuff is going to be surrounded by community. It's going to be building a community where you can laugh, a community where you can cry, but you'll always have someone there to cry with. Because no matter what, no matter how the future may go, no matter how hard they may try, they cannot erase us.